Hey, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Sports Rambling. I am your host, Brian Belcito, and I am seriously pumped about this episode. We are sitting on Friday, September 11th, 2020. Last night was the kickoff game of the NFL season. So you had the Texans of Houston taking on the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. You had limited amount of fans in the stands due to the pandemic. It was an interesting night. The Chiefs looked like they have not missed a step since last season when they won the Super Bowl. So this episode is going to be basically my NFL preview episode with my NFL picks for the division champions, the wild card positions in the playoffs, the championship games, the Super Bowl, the MVP, the Rookie of the Year. This is basically Sports Rambling's football kickoff show. So we are jacked up about that. I have a guest on here today, a friend of mine here in Arizona that he likes to dabble a little bit in the sports gambling. Him and I have had a few endeavors that have paid off when betting on sports. So him and I have been kind of in the lab putting our picks together, and we are ready to go. So the NFL season is going to kick into high gear on Sunday. Games all day long, culminating with the Cowboys visiting the Rams in the new stadium, SoFi Stadium, in my home area of Southern California. That stadium is supposed to be off the rails. They were calling it on the football game last night. Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth referred to it as possibly the greatest stadium in the world. I'm excited to see that eventually when fans are let back into the stands. The Chargers and the Rams will be playing there, and as a Bronco fan, I am excited to go see the Broncos take on the Chargers in that stadium. But I am not going to waste any more time here talking about any of that type of small potato stuff. Let's get into the picks. I want to introduce into Sports Rambling for the first time my buddy Greg Orlick out here in Arizona. So let me let him into the room real quick, and we will be rolling. Hey, there he is. Let's let his audio kick in here, and then we will be on our way. Gregory Orlick, welcome to Sports Rambling, my friend. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. How are you?
Good, good. We are ready to go, man. This is NFL kickoff weekend. We had a little bit of college football last weekend that was interesting to get a little taste of what it's like to have football with nobody in the crowd. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, a little different, but we had some football last night with the Chiefs and the Texans. Again, limited crowd for that game. So I don't know if you got to see any of that. Did you get to watch any of that game?
I watched some of it, but I realized quickly it was going to be a blowout. But yeah, I mean, the Chiefs and I think the Dolphins are going to be the only teams with fans. So it was nice to kind of have a normal night instead of what we're going to have on Sunday. So,
Right. Right. I know the Broncos, their second home game, they will have limited fans let in, and I'm pretty
oh,
sure. I'm thinking that that's going to sweep across the league. That they're going to start adding limited amounts, and who knows what's going to happen in the latter part of the
right.
season as the season goes on. So we'll see. We got football kicking off this weekend, though, so I'm super
Yeah.
excited. So, just a quick wrap up on last season. As everybody knows, the Kansas City Chiefs won their first Super Bowl since I don't know, since God was a little boy. It's been a long time since the Chiefs won the championship, man. They came
That was
back
like
in the
the
fourth
20s or
quarter and
something.
beat the 49ers in that game. So they are your defending champions. What do you
Yep.
see as some of the key moves that happened in the offseason as far as player personnel?
Players go. Well, obviously, you have Tom Brady going to the Buccaneers. And then to counter that, Cam Newton went to the Patriots.
Yeah.
Other ones that people might not be aware of are like Darius Slay,
Mm-hmm.
my alma mater, Mississippi State, went to the
Nice.
Eagles. Todd Gurley to the Falcons. It could be a big move. And Teddy Bridgewater maybe going to the Panthers,
Yep.
as
Also
well
as
as
a also
Panthers.
as a compliment to Mr. Brady going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they got his security blanket in Rob Gronkowski. Gronk, what can go wrong with
Yeah.
Gronk partying down in Tampa Bay? I mean, that's a
Yeah.
solid move by them. Them also late in the season, in the off season, adding Leonard Fournette to the backfield. That's pretty stacked backfield now with Ronald Jones III as their other back. Couple other ones.
Still have
Eric Ebron, tight end to the Steelers. That might be a big one for Big Ben.
Marcus Mariota goes to the Raiders. That's kind of interesting.
In case
To
things
see
don't work out with Carr.
how. And then also Calais Campbell to the Ravens.
That's a
That
strong
might be a big
move.
one. And Stephon Diggs went to the Bills as well. That's going to be a pretty big benefit.
Yeah, one of the ones that you mentioned in the first part of this segment, Darius Slay, your fellow alma mater, going to the Eagles, right? That is and has been a position of need for the Eagles. They never stay healthy in their secondary, so I think that could end up being a big acquisition there. One other transaction that we did not mention is the big trade between Houston Texans and the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals sent their tailback, David Johnson, to the Texans for one of the top 3 wide receivers in the game, possibly the best, DeAndre Hopkins.
Yep, that's a big move. We saw last night that David Johnson kind of got out of a little rut, shook some rust off, and I think he got at least 1 touchdown, maybe more. But it was nice to see him finally score.
Right.
I don't know. I thought you were going to go a different route when you started that, though, and say Phillip Rivers, because we failed to mention that, and that's like one of the biggest, kind of little shockwaves we had all summer long. So
absolutely, the Colts are a sleeping giant, and now they've got a quarterback that has got some, he's got some experience, obviously. He's going to make them a complete team. They've struggled at quarterback since Andrew Luck hung them up. Last year was a little bit brutal. But I think that makes them a sleeper to possibly make it to the Super Bowl. They got a strong offensive line, a decent defense, and they've got some pretty good weapons. Got a nice backfield, Marlon Mack, and they also didn't they draft Jonathan Taylor from University of Wisconsin there too.
Yep.
So, all right.
Don't they have I was going to say, don't they have T.Y. Hilton?
Yeah. Yep. He's a very good wide receiver.
Yeah.
So that makes them, if not the favorite in that division, at least one of the favorites to win that division. And then who knows what happens in the playoffs from there. So speaking of the playoffs, we've got a new format this year. They've added an extra wild card in both conferences. So you will have 3 wild cards and 4 division champions, with the number 1 seed being the only one to get a bye. So that should be interesting. It'll be a matchup of 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, and 4 versus 5.
Week 16, week 17 will be week 16, week 17 will be a little bit more important now. No resting players, and if they really want that bye, they're going to have to play for first. So it's a really big incentive to have a rest. So
my guess is you probably in each conference you probably just made whereas at the tail end of the season maybe 50% of the league was playing for playoff spots. Now you're talking about another extra 3 or 4 teams in each conference that are still alive when you get that last weekend. So as we are getting prepared here to talk about our predictions for division winners and whatnot, I know you were working on, and you and I have had some pretty good financial endeavors in Las Vegas on sports in the past. So What are the
Yeah.
odds going into the season? What do we got as some odds there that you have been able to track down?
The favorites right now are the Chiefs. They're 4 to 4.5 to 1. The Ravens are 5 to 1. Some long shots, like you said, the Colts 25 to 1. I really like the Bills 30 to 1. The Titans, the surprise from last year, 40 to 1. Your team 40 to 1. The Broncos. Um, and I think I was going to wait till later, but I think one of the surprise teams this year, and probably the best, most improved team out of the AFC might be the Dolphins, and they're 100 to 1 to win the
Wow.
Super Bowl. So
They certainly
they
have.
added a lot to their defense.
Yep. Yep. And when
So
we'll see how long it takes for them to put the quarterback that's always keeping the seat warm for a young guy. Ryan Fitzpatrick gets to start week 1. We'll see. I read that Tua was a full go towards the end of this week as far as practicing. So we'll see how long it takes before they go to the Tua experience. I'm excited to see him. What about you?
yeah,
I got a chance.
yeah, it'd be interesting. We have some exciting rookies this year, so
Yeah,
we'll
definitely.
see how it goes.
Definitely. Okay, so speaking of, let's start there. You got a rookie of the year pick for me?
I'm going to go with Chase Young out of
Okay.
Washington,
Okay.
the Washington football team. uh, yeah, he'll be a surprise. He's hungry.
Yeah.
Maybe he won't get as many votes just because of how bad his team's going to be, but
Right.
hopefully, he could be a stat stuffer. So,
Yeah, for sure. Sure, that guy's a beast. So that's
mhm. Who
defensive
do you got?
rookie of the year. I'll stick with that. I don't think there's going to be a defensive player, a rookie, that comes up any bigger than him. On the offensive side, I'm going straight up number 1 pick. I'm going Joe Burrow as the offensive rookie of the year. In that offense, they're not going to. He's starter from day 1. And unless he gets hurt, I don't see them pulling him out. He's the future of that franchise. That kid's a stud. He's got a good head on his shoulders. They have a pretty good backfield. They got Joe Mixon in their backfield to take some of the pressure off of him. So that's my pick for offensive rookie of the year. You got an offensive rookie of the year that you're thinking of?
Um, it might be Justin Jefferson with the
Yeah,
Vikings.
that's a good one.
If
That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
It'd be
kid.
interesting to see if the
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
go
Sorry.
ahead. I just hope that him and his quarterback, I can't think of his name right now, gets off to a hot start and they find their rhythm and mesh well.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins, yeah, from
Yeah.
the Reds or the
That's
Washington football team.
that wide receiver group of rookies is just stacked. I mean, you got Jefferson,
Yeah,
Judy with the Broncos, CeeDee Lamb with the
Ruggs.
Cowboys, Ruggs with the Raiders. That's a stacked group. And Jefferson, I couldn't believe how far he dropped in the draft, to be honest with you, because I thought that kid was fantastic at LSU.
Right.
We'll see where he goes, where that goes. Okay, so that leaves us with NFL MVP. Who you got?
I'm gonna go back-to-back seasons for Lamar Jackson
Okay, all right.
with the
Um,
Ravens. Yep. What
yeah,
about
he's a
you?
beast. He's a beast. Like you used the term for Chase Young. Jackson's a stat stuffer, and he's just getting better and better and better. Um,
Yep.
that's a pretty good pick. I'm gonna go up to the Pacific Northwest. This will be a little preview of what I think is going to happen overall for this season, and I think Russell Wilson will win the MVP. I think he's poised for a
First
huge
time.
year. He's got a great coach. He's got a good surrounding cast, and the guy's he's money. So that's my choice there. So why don't we move into the AFC and pick our division champions starting in the AFC East. I will lead each division to you. So what's your pick for the AFC East? And then I'll give mine.
AFC East, I got the Bills.
You got the
Buffalo
Bills.
Bills.
Okay. I, as much as I hate to say it, I have the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick refuses to give up control of that division. I like your pick of the Bills. I would love to see that happen, but for some reason, I just see the Patriots as having that chip on their shoulder of Belichick being like, "Sorry guys, I'm going to show you that it's not just Tom Brady around here." So,
We'll see.
yep.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hey,
They
go ahead.
the Patriots, just so you know, they have the toughest strength of schedule for throughout the whole season. So
Good.
that could be one thing that
Yep.
that could be one thing that sways them from even making the playoffs, in my opinion.
Okay.
So another
Um,
thing to watch out for in my picks.
yep. The AFC South. Who do you got taking the crown there?
I have the Titans.
You got the Titans. Okay, that's a
The
solid pick.
surprise from
Solid
last year,
defense.
Titans.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
And we can discuss both these teams after I give you my pick, as we talked about as a sleeper. I got the Colts. I think Rivers takes them to the title in that division. Puts them over the top.
Interesting.
I'm interested to see what your thoughts are on the Titans. So, um, running
Yeah.
game based, Travis
They
Henry
lost.
dominating again.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll see. You know, they lost their big star in the middle to you guys, the Broncos. So
Okay.
we'll see if Jadeveon Clowney can step in there and lead that defense
Right.
to some more victories.
Right. And that's our number. That's
Right.
our week one opponent. The Broncos play them in the late game on Monday night. So we'll see.
Let's
It's
go.
unfortunate for us that
Interesting.
Von Miller got hurt a couple days after Clowney signed there, because I think Elway might have gone out and made a move for him if he had known that Von Miller. All right, moving on to the AFC North.
Okay. I think we probably finally got one the same, and we're going to go the Ravens. I got the Ravens.
Yep, I got the Ravens too. With I wanted to go back real quick on your MVP pick of Lamar Jackson. I worry about him because he runs the ball so much, but nobody can catch him. So you know what I mean.
Right.
So I think the Steelers have an outside chance of putting some pressure on the Ravens to win this division. But at the end of the day, the Ravens are the class of the division, and they should win it by maybe 2 games, something like that. At the end of the day, Ravens probably go 13. Steelers got an outside.
How many playoff teams you got coming out of this division?
I've got two. But I would not be surprised. I won't steal your thunder because I have a feeling I know where you're going with that. So I'll wait till we get to wild card picks to see what I got to say about that. I think we're going to
Okay.
mirror each other here in the AFC West as well. What's your pick in the West? Does it even need to be said?
The Chiefs. Nah.
Same
No.
here. Same here. It's a better division than most people think. But the Chiefs are the class of the NFL, so that they're just on a different level as far as talent. Andy Reid is an offensive genius, so that's probably goes without saying that they're the champion, and they're probably the most heavily favored in any division, even though that is a good division. So, what are your 3 wild card teams in the AFC?
I have the Texans out of the South, which maybe I should have rethought that after last night. uh, the Raiders, big surprise here with the Raiders. I just have a feeling like Mariota, Witten, if Carr can stay healthy, and with Gruden being in the new city, there could be some fire there. And Gruden's second year, he's a hell of a coach. Probably one of the best in the NFL, top
Yep.
5. And I would like to see him do good. And then my final pick, and this leaves out a lot of teams like the Steelers and the Colts. I picked the Browns
I knew it.
be the final wild card team.
I'm down with that pick because I really do have a theory about the Browns. 2 seasons ago, they started their ascension. Last season, they were down. And a lot of times with a team with that much talent, when they have that down season, it kind of puts them in check. and then they come out and they roll through the following season. So I am totally down with that pick. I think that's a good pick. Speaking of that, what are their Super Bowl odds? You got their Super Bowl odds there by any chance?
I was going to add to that real quick, and I'll find them.
Okay.
They have a new coach too, and they all seem to really buy into him.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now, but we'll see how that goes. The Browns are 50-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Was that 5-0, 50-1?
50 to 1.
Nice. That wouldn't be a bad spot to maybe get some money in. So my three wild cards out of the AFC are the Steelers, the Bills, and the Texans. So I, like you, probably would have liked to have a do-over on that one, but I'm going to stick with the Texans. I think Deshaun Watson is special. Despite the fact that I think he has one of the worst head coaches in the NFL, but Bill O'Brien just seems to do less with talent. We'll see. I think Watson, the problem is they ask him to do too much, and I am afraid he's going to get banged up early in his career. But they just handed him a boatload of money, so they're expecting him to get the playoffs.
People were calling for him to get benched last night already, man.
Come on.
It's crazy. I know, really? Like, come on.
All right.
So we have basically the same picks. I think I have the Raiders and the Browns, and you have the Patriots and the Colts. So those are the only two differences in those.
Yep. We're pretty close. So switching over to the NFC, your pick in the NFC East.
Eagles.
Okay. Well, you just made my household happy with that pick. Yeah.
You're welcome, Darcy. If he stays healthy and with the addition of Darius Slay and the defense, maybe they can do pretty well in that division.
Yep. The key is
they each healthy. So the front runners each have 4 simple games against the Washington football team and the Giants. So there's 4-0 right there.
Yeah. So their head up matchups between the Cowboys and the Eagles will determine that. I, on the other hand, won't be able to talk to Darcy for a few days after this show releases because I picked the Dallas Cowboys to win the NFC East. I actually think the Cowboys have an outside chance to do some real damage this year, but I think that almost every year, and we get the same thing out of the Cowboys every year. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they're pretty pitiful. Always let us down.
All right, NFC South. I've got a feeling we're probably the same in the NFC South, but I'll let you go first.
Got the Panthers. No, just kidding. Saints.
The Saints is my pick as well. Drew Brees, Michael Thomas. They're going to put up a lot of points like they always do. See what they can do in the playoffs. Going over to the NFC North. Who you got there?
I really honestly think this is the toughest division in football out of all of them. It was hard. I think at least 2 of them advance. I even think maybe a third advances. I erased it a couple times, went back and forth. I ultimately picked the Packers in the North.
We are exactly the same. I think the Packers actually lit a fire in Aaron Rodgers by drafting Jordan Love in the first round or the second round, whenever they drafted him. Picking a quarterback when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback has a tendency to kind of piss that guy off, and I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be on a tear this year. So
I don't know if you remember, but when Aaron Rodgers was picked for the Packers, nobody even cared. I didn't care. I didn't even know who he was. I knew he played for Cal, and I knew he was all right, but nobody knew he was going to be this good.
Yeah, I just remember that draft night. He was the sad victim of the drop down the board. So by the time they did pick him, he was looking furious. And look what happened the last time he was pissed. He put in a Hall of Fame career. So now he's pissed again. He's threatening his job. He broke up with Danica Patrick. So here we go. Aaron Rodgers redemption tour this year. NFC West. This is where I think
I
you
have
just
the
said the
Niners.
Central is or the North is the toughest division. I think the NFC West is the toughest. You go ahead and make your pick.
Really? I have the 49ers in this division.
Okay. That's
Back to
where.
back. Yep.
Yep. I have the Seattle Seahawks taking this division again. Russell Wilson. I think he's going to win the MVP. And I think the Seahawks are a real threat to take down the Niners. Niners are a very good football team. The Rams have a lot of talent. Not a big believer in Goff, but we'll see. New stadium for the Rams too, so
I
um,
I think the Rams. Yeah, we'll get to see that on Monday as well, I believe.
they're
So
on Sunday
that's
Night
going to be
Football.
kind of interesting. Or is it
Cowboys
Sunday
Rams
night
Sunday
with the
Night Football.
Cowboys?
Yep. All right, so your
The
three
thing,
wild
the thing with
card
the Rams
teams.
for me is,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the thing with the Rams for me is the thing with the Rams for me is they don't have an identity. Like they're not a defensive football team and they're not an offensive football team, and I
Right.
think they're going to have trouble having that identity. Therefore, they're not going to do well. And I have them actually being the most underperforming team in the NFL this year.
Okay, that's fair, and that's a good
So
assessment because they came out of the box a couple of years ago, and they were Todd Gurley and Goff had a really good season, and then Gurley got banged up. Uh, Now they seem to be a bunch of wide receivers that can play with a quarterback that's like a deer in the headlights. Goff, you never know what you're going to get out of him. So we'll see. Maybe that stadium gives them some incentive to play a little bit better. I'm excited to see that place, by the way. Um, and that let's not leave out, since we are in Arizona. We talked about it briefly last night, you and I. The Cardinals have a bright future. It's not now though, because that division,
sure,
that division's so top heavy. But they could make some noise. They could pull some
yeah.
upsets and maybe stay in contention for that third wild
Yeah, they'll be like the Browns of like two years ago. Like they have probably 2 more years to rebuild and get some reps under their belt, and then all of a sudden they could just come out blazing. So
card. Yep, I think so too. So who are your three wild cards in the NFC?
I have the Cowboys, the Seahawks, and the Bears coming out of NFC North.
Interesting. So you
So
don't
I
have the
left the
Vikings.
Vikings out. I don't know.
Me
No,
too. I have
I
the
left them
Vikings out
out.
as
It
well.
was they were my deleted one. So I don't
Well,
know.
what I find
I could be
interesting
wrong.
about your picks there is that you left the Tampa Bay Buccaneers out of the playoffs like I wanted. I wanted to, but I got them in there at that third wild card with the Niners and the Eagles as the other two wild cards. Um, I I don't know what to think of this Tampa Bay team. Um, I'll give them that third wild card just based on the fact that it's Brady. But who knows what we're going to see. So,
Yeah. I mean, I could be wrong about the Bears, and maybe I should have put the Vikings, but I didn't really think about the Bucks yet.
mhm, mhm.
They're going to have a learning curve, in my opinion. So I don't think it's just going to be snap your fingers, ready,
Right.
set, go. Like it's going to be a little harder than that. They're professionals for a reason, but they're going to be playing alongside other teams that have been gelling for so many years. So
And with no preseason, they don't have any time to kind of get a rhythm and figure out their offense and all that stuff. So, all right. So that takes us to
right.
our championship game picks in each division, in each conference, excuse me. So, what's your AFC championship game? All the chips on the table for a Super Bowl trip.
Okay. I have the Ravens versus the Bills. Uh, it's going to be a very interesting game, and I have the Ravens going on to the Super Bowl.
Okay. I have the one and the
just so you
two.
know,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
the 1 and the 2.
Yeah, I
I
got
was
the.
just going to say I had the Bills beating the Chiefs
Okay.
to get to the AFC Championship game. Yeah.
I've got the Chiefs against the Ravens, with the Ravens advancing on to the Super Bowl.
So we're the same there.
Yep. And then in the NFC,
What do you have for
got
the
in the
NFC?
NFC?
I have the 49ers beating the Saints in the NFC.
Okay. I have, and I've been talking them up the whole show. I got the Seahawks against the Cowboys in the NFC Championship game.
Cowboys. They're going to win 2 playoff games.
I don't have a lot of faith in Garoppolo bouncing back from his disastrous second half in the Super Bowl. That's why I didn't have Seahawks and Niners. Otherwise, I probably would have had Seahawks Niners. I believe in that Niners defense. I just don't believe in Garoppolo. So I went with the Cowboys. I went with the theory of it's got to happen sometime. So I do think that the Seahawks are the best team in the NFC, and that gives me a Super Bowl matchup of the Seahawks and the Ravens, and it gives you, did you say the Ravens and the 49ers?
Yes.
All right. Who do you got winning the Super Bowl, and who's your Super Bowl MVP?
Well, I picked Lamar Jackson to win MVP. I'll pick him to win the Super Bowl MVP, beating the 49ers 37-24.
All right. I have the Seattle Seahawks taking home their second Lombardi trophy. Russell Wilson, Super Bowl MVP, and I'll go with a final score of 31-30 on a field goal at the very last minute. That's how close I think those teams are. I think they're the two best teams in football, and I just think that two great coaches, two great special teams, two great defenses, and two great offenses. They're just well-rounded football teams, and like I said, I think that they're the best that the league has to offer going into this season. Crazy season it's going to be, since we don't know what is going to be the whole fan experience. I know that the Denver Broncos, just so everybody knows out there, the Denver Broncos do have cardboard cutouts for week 1, but I am not one of them. So you won't have to be bugged on Facebook by me going, there I am again. So
yeah,
anyway,
I'm a little worried about your pick, only because the 12th man and the Seahawks are one in together. So it'll be interesting to see how they play football without their 12th man. So that's kind of why I was a little worried to go with them.
Yep, I hear you. I think that it's going to be weird all the way around, and every team's going to be dealing with that. Just they're going to have to bring the players are going to have to bring their own energy. That's the only way that I can put it. These stadiums are so big, and I don't know. I don't even know. Our team's going to be pumping in artificial crowd noise. I have no idea how they're handling that in the league. I don't know how that would be. That is, what level is fair? Is there you have artificial crowd noise? Is there a level that they're allowing them to? What about indoor versus outdoor? All that kind of stuff. It's just going to be a weird experience.
I think one thing we know for sure is there going to be less false starts this season.
Good call. That'll be interesting. And the ones that do happen will stick out like a sore thumb, and that dude will be stupid as hell. So anyway, Greg, I appreciate you stopping in, man. I appreciate all your knowledge and stopping in on some of my posts throughout the weeks while I'm trying to build this thing up here. So let's make you our NFL gambling / NFL season fan correspondent. Let's do this again sometime in the middle of the season or after the first month or something like that. We can revisit where we think our teams are that we've picked.
Sure. Thanks for having me on, and I look forward to it.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. Much love to you and Jasmine. I hope you guys are safe. I know we're close by in proximity, but we haven't seen each other in about 10 months or so. So just always remember, man, stay safe out there, and we will see everybody the next time on Sports Rambling. Thanks for any shares, likes, thumbs up, anybody who's viewing and supporting. I really appreciate it. So again, Greg, I thank you, and have a good weekend.
You too.